Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and in this video we are going to talk about Blazor in .NET 8, this new Blazor, the new Blazor SSR, static server-side rendering. And in this we have enhanced navigation, and we have enhanced navigation enabled. So that is enabled by default. If we don't have any interactivity, it is there. So when enhanced navigation is enabled, if we click on some link or we let's say submit form, so enhanced form submission is also a part of enhanced navigation. So what happens at that particular amount of time, because we do not have any interactivity, if that particular request takes some time, for that particular amount of time we cannot see anything happening on the page. So sometimes we think that nothing is happening, right? So this could be a issue. So in this video I'm going to talk about a workaround by which we can display some, let's say, some loader when that enhanced navigation or enhanced form submission is going on. Okay, so that is what we are going to talk about in this video. So maybe Microsoft Blazor's team is going to fix, not, this is not an issue, but this is by design. But this Blazor gives us one event which is enhanced load. So I was actually going through the source, so I found this thing. So this is the class which is responsible for enhanced navigation. So this TypeScript file, so I found out that they're simply exporting just enhanced load. So that is, after enhanced navigation request is made, it got the response, it is let's say it painted that response onto the UI. After that, that event gets fired. So in order to display some loader or something like that, we need to have something pre so let's say when enhanced navigation is making that request, at that time we should have some event that enhanced navigation started, and then we have enhanced load which is already there. Load, or enhanced load. Yeah, it was enhanced load only, right? Enhanced load. Okay, maybe they, that is in some other file. So I found this file. In this there is something which I'm going to talk about. So this is the thing which I'm going to talk about. So for this I'm going to create a new Blazor project. Okay, so I'm calling it Blazor Enhanced Nav Loader. Let's create this. So that load, that is this enhanced navigation, that is totally related to the new mode, that new static server-side rendering SSR. So for Blazor server and Blazor WebAssembly, we have full control. We can do whatever we want. For example, for form submission, so we can add our own click, we add those methods. So those are, we can add our loader or any loading state to the buttons, all those things we can do. And for navigation as well, we have on this navigation manager, we have one event location changed. On router we have on navigate async. So we can use all those approaches if we are using interactivity. But if we are not using interactivity, then this enhanced navigation comes into the picture. So I'm explaining it because I'm going to use authentication type none, but I'm not going to use any interactivity. We don't want any interactivity on this, in this project. Okay, so interactivity render mode none. Let's create this project. Okay, it's here. By default it is going to have home and weather, these two pages. Let's create one more page, some, let's say, test page, and let's add page test. Where is it? Test. Let me zoom it. Okay, so test. And then in our layout and nav menu, I'm going to add one more navigation link here. I'll say test, and href is going to be test. Now if I save everything and run it, I want to show you what I mean. So it's here. If I inspect it and if I go to, let's say, network, here, if I click on weather, there is no document request. We can go to fetch and we have this fetch request. If we go to test, we have fetch request. If we go back to home, we have fetch request. So all these are fetch requests which are using for enhanced navigation. So these are using, when we say enhanced navigation, it actually makes a fetch which is AJAX request to the server. It gets a response and it adds that response to this UI. So that is what it does. So because these calls are simple calls, so these are fine, but we will see this also. But on this test page, let's say if I have some form, okay, so on this test page I'm going to create a, let's say, some small simple model. So I'll say private class test model, which has, let's say, one property prop string, uh, anything, let's say its name. Okay, now on this page I am going to have an edit form with model. Let's define this model property here. So I'll say public, not class, public test model. Let's say, let's call it maybe model only. And this is going to be a property. So get set, and let's have a default value new. So it's not null. Okay. Public test model test. What is the issue here? Oh, this is private. So it can't be public, or we can make both of these public or internal or private. We are going to use this one here only. So this model is going to be model. Okay. In here, I'm going to add one input text, input text, input text. Okay. Input text with bind value as model.name with class, let's say form control, which is coming from Bootstrap, and some placeholder, let's say enter name. Okay. And then I'm going to have one button here. So I'll say div class my3, and then I'm going to have one submit button. Okay. Button class this button submit. All right. Now this button is going to submit this form. Right now we have not used enhanced on this, but if we add this enhanced, now it is enhanced form, so it is not going to post back the complete page. It will simply make the AJAX request, fetch request, and using that fetch request it is going to push this form. So let's add form name as well. So form name, let's say test form. Then when we have this form name, so for post request we should add edit code supply parameter from form, and we should add form name. If we have just one form, then there is no need to add this form name, but in previous video we were working on that full stack hotel booking app. In that we faced some issue, we had multiple forms on the page. So since then I am making this a habit that I'm going to always add this form name to all the supply parameter from form. All right, now we are okay, we are good here. Now let's do this. Here I'm going to use on submit, and let's say submit async. And now I'm going to define this method here. So private async task submit async. Now from here, let's use a longer delay. Let's say it took maybe 2.5 seconds. Okay, edit code. Now what we will do, let's have some state here. So private string message like this, and then we'll display this message, let's say before this form. So here I'm going to say, let's say if not string dot is null or white space this underscore message, then I'm going to simply display this inside a p tag. Okay, plus let's say my2. All right, and then after this setting this form, we'll set this underscore message to yeah, let's do this only, this message, or whatever we can say, let submitted successfully. Now I'm going to save it, stop debugging, and let's run it again. Now we will see what I meant. So for navigation it was quick, but it could take some time, because in normal cases on these pages, simple pages, we are going to have some data fetching logic, and we can add on initialized or on initialized async, and we can fetch data maybe from database. So that query could take some time if we have large amount of data. Now let's open this inspect, go to network, fetch, we are good. For weather and home we are okay. Let's go to test, we are okay till now. Now if I submit this, or let's say I'm adding something and then I'm pressing this submit, you see, now we don't know if something is happening or not. Then after some time it came. So for that amount of time, you see, I can click on multiple times, all the requests are cancelling, the previous requests are getting cancelled. So this is not a good UX, right? And if this call took some more time, let's make it 4 seconds. Although this is not a good thing if some call is taking 4 seconds, but let's assume it, so that we can at least show something, and we might maybe use some maybe we have latency issue. Then also if I click on this and I add my name and then I submit, now I don't know if something is happening or no, right? Then this came, then now I know, okay, it was getting submitted. So for these cases, because these pages do not have interactivity, we cannot have something like, for example, this message, I cannot add this message before, so this value is not going to be flowed before this. Okay. Now we could have stream rendering, but using that we can directly just modify this value, but that is also not a we could say, for example, what if I want to display some loader? So for all those cases this is not going to work that easily. So for this, right now we don't have direct straightforward thing, but we can have a workaround using JavaScript. Okay, so what we will do, we will go to the very top, that is app.treasure, where our HTML is. Here, after getting this blazor.web.js, I am going to add a script tag here. Now this blazor.web.js, this gives us a global Blazor object. On this Blazor we have couple of methods, but on this we can add one event listener. So, and that event listener is add event listener, and the event name is enhanced load, and everything is in lowercase. Okay, now here let's add some console.log enhanced log load event fired. Now let's see what we get when we run the app. When we run the app and when we move around, then let's see what happens. I'm in console. If I go to weather, enhanced event fired. If I go to test, enhanced event fired. If I go to home, enhanced event fired. Everything is fine. If I close, if I add something here, and if I submit, you see no event is here. Nothing is here. And when we got the response, at that time it gave us this event. That means this enhanced load, this event gets fired when after making the call and fetch getting the complete response. after that it event gets fired. So this could be a good candidate to hide our loader, right? But we should at least have our loader before this. So now for this, when I was inspecting the source code of Blazor, I found out that for all the enhanced navigation requests, what Blazor does, I hope you can see this, let me zoom it. What it does, it simply adds this accept header text HTML Blazor enhanced nav equals on. It adds this header to fetch request. So it makes a fetch request. So here it is creating fetch. Let's get the actual fetch request here. So it makes fetch request whenever it is perform enhanced page load. When it is performing this thing, it generates this fetch request, and in this fetch request it adds headers, which is this accept header with this accept header value, which we just checked. That value is this one. Okay, so we are going to use something related to this. Now we know when to hide our loader, but we want to know when to show our loader. So for this, it is making fetch request. We will use fetch request only. But the problem is, how will we modify the existing fetch request, right? So what we will do, we will use one approach, that is a monkey patching approach. Using that, what we can do, we can intercept all the fetch requests which are coming, which are going out of our application. Okay, so that fetch request, that is actually a fetch method on window object. This window is a global JavaScript object. Okay, so from this window object, we can actually do what we can do. We can get fetch object. We can assign this fetch object to some other object. So let's say original fetch, and we'll get it from window. So this is new ES6 feature. This is similar to, if you are not familiar with this approach, this is ES6 object destructuring syntax. So this is similar to, if we could have said original fetch equals window dot fetch. Okay, so these two lines are same. All right, now we have this. Now what we will do, have a copy of this fetch object in this original fetch object. What we will do now, we will modify this fetch object which we have on window. Okay, so how we are going to do, first thing, this is an async method, async function. So async, we will get all the arguments which we get in this fetch request, whatever fetch request we are having. Now from this fetch request, we have couple of things. First is URL and the other is options. So if we simply use fetch call, fetch, okay, you see first is URL, and then second one is this request init, which is an object. Okay, so what we are going to do from this args, so this is, we are getting all the arguments, all the parameters for this call in this args variable, in this args parameter, we could say. So from this args parameter, we want to get things. So first is URL, second whatever options we have, and we'll get it from args. So this is again array destructuring. So it gets all the arguments whatever we provide, and it converts those to an array with the name this args. So what we are doing, first element we are getting as URL, second we are getting as options. Okay, so this options object, now on this options object we will check everything. First thing, we'll check if this options object have headers object. Okay, after that, if it has headers object, then what we'll say, this options dot headers if it has accept header. Okay, this thing I got from the source code. So we just checked, it said this accept object, right? On this headers, it set accept value. So we know that this is accept. Now if we have this value, after that we are going to check if, oh my god, let's disable this. Mhm. All right, now we know it has headers, we know it has this accept header. Then we will check, it again came, okay. Then we'll check if this accept header, if it has that, so in JavaScript we can use includes method, which is same as contains method in C sharp. So if it includes Blazor, this text, or we can check the complete line, that was Blazor enhanced nav equals on, or let's check this only, enhanced nav. If it is satisfying all these conditions, it has headers object, then in headers object it has accept key, and then this in this accept header it has this Blazor enhanced nav. If all these things are good, then we know this is the fetch request which is using enhanced navigation which Blazor is making. So here we could say show loader, and then inside this enhanced load we could say hide loader. So this is the main thing. All right, now we need to have some loader. So the easiest way is going to be, we can have HTML5 dialog element, where we'll say dialog. Inside this dialog, let's have some one p tag, and here we'll say loading. And on this dialog, we will have one ID. Let's say, I don't know, maybe Blazor global loader, something like this. By default, it will not be displayed. We need to display it as a modal. So for this, what we'll do first, let's get access of this dialog element. So what we can do globally, we could say const loader equals document dot get element by id, and we can provide this id. Now we have this loader. So where we are saying show loader, here we could say loader dot show modal. Now on this HTML5 dialog element, we have two methods. One is show modal. Show is actually, it will show, but the complete page is going to be interactive. We can click around here and there, but that is not what we want. When it is making this, when it is loading, we want it to, user could just see that loader, that dialog, nothing else. Means user can see it, but user cannot interact the page. That is what we want. So we want it as a modal pop-up. All right, now this is here. And when we say hide loader, for this we'll say loader dot close. Save everything. Now we are good. Now let's try it out. Or let's add some console statements as well. So console dot log. Here we'll say show loader, and here we'll say console dot log hide loader. Save everything and let's run it. Now if I run it, oh, there is one. No. I messed it up. All right. Now here we are showing the loader, but we are modifying the fetch, but we need to use the existing fetch. Now it will not do anything because we broke the existing behavior, but that is not what we want, right? We want existing behavior to be there. So from here, what we'll do after doing this, we should return the original request. So what we'll do, we'll simply say return await, and we know what was our original fetch. This was our original fetch. So from original fetch, and then we are going to pass all the existing arguments as it is. So save it. Now it is fine. So this logic, this thing is called monkey patching. Let's run it. Let's open the console. Some error. I missed something. We have this. we have this thing, we have this thing. What did we miss? What did we miss? Oh, this is a method. It should be like this. All right. So save it and let's run it. All right, we have it. Let's open console. There's no error. If we go to console, if we click, it shows show loader, hide loader. Then we had that small loader. If we go back to home, and now we cannot do anything. It is kind of frozen or broken, whatever we call it. We cannot interact with it. If I refresh the complete page, then I can do this. If I go to home, we can see that loader for small amount of time and then show loader, hide loader. Everything is working, but the only problem is we cannot interact the page after that. But loader is not here, and we saw that it came, then it went. That means that showing and that loader close and loader show model, both of those functions are working, but still we cannot interact it. The reason behind this is how this works. The initial UI, it was like this. It was here. So how it works when it this request, this enhanced navigation works, it simply checks what is the copy on the server. This is not the actual copy, but it knows what was sent. So when it compares these two things, at that time this was modified, but for this it is not modified. The point is, this particular dialog, this is in an inconsistent state, because on UI we try to modify it. When we say show model, the state actually changes. We have some additional overlay, that backdrop, and then state of this also changes. So what we need to do, we need to tell Blazor that do not worry about this dialog. Don't try to modify it for all these requests. When I say don't modify it, that means you don't have to worry about that what is on the UI, what is on the server. If you are generating the page response, you don't need to take care of this thing. So for this, when we want something to exclude from Blazor's enhanced navigation, Blazor gives us one thing, one attribute, that is data permanent. So we are going to add this dialog inside this data permanent. So we simply created a wrapper div and we added this data permanent. Blazor is going to check it, and it will not do anything with this HTML block. It will simply skip this. So whatever it on the UI from the first time, it will not touch this. And showing and hiding of this, we are handling this using this JavaScript. So now we should be good. Let's try it out again. I'm running it. Now if we go to, I'm going to weather, we saw that, then it got removed, and now I can interact with all these things. If I go to test, show loader, hide loader, enhanced event fired. If I remove this, now if I do something here, and if I submit, you see loading, show loader and loading, it is loading. And now when the request is completed, it said hide loader, it made that loader hidden, and then we have this enhanced event fired. That means this thing is working. This is what we wanted to achieve. Okay, now you can design that loader if you want. Okay, if you don't want that loader to be like this, you can maybe have some nice HTML loader, this no dialog. Maybe you could have some custom backdrop, custom overlay, and custom thing which you can move to the center of the screen with some nice message and nice maybe spinner animation. All that thing you can do. You just need to have that hidden by default using maybe display none, and then you can access that element, and here you can make the display block, And then in this thing you can make that display none again. So it will simply behave at show and hide loader. All right. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. This is kind of a workaround. Maybe when in some next future version releases, Blazor gives us some other event, same like maybe enhanced load, maybe enhanced fired or enhanced initiated, something like that, or enhanced start. Then we can simply we may be able to do something like this, that enhanced start, and then we will simply show loader from here, and then we'll hide loader here, and we don't need to do all of these things then. But that's not we have right now. So we have this nice cool workaround. Do let me know in the comment if you knew this approach, and if you are familiar with this ES6 approach, this object destructuring. This is the rest parameters, this rest and spread, and this array destructuring, if you are aware about all these JavaScript concepts or not. All right. So that's all for this video. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe my channel. I'll be back soon with some other video. Till then, bye bye. Happy coding.